Hello and happy Wednesday. We are trying this out, doing some Facebook Lives from remote locations. So we're going to double check to make sure that you guys are able to see us before we get started with our conversation today. We are going to be talking about injuries at home. So think of your questions that you have, and we would love to take them. So let's just make sure that our technology is all working while we get people to join us. Okay, looks like we're working. If you guys can't hear us or see us, I guess please put it in the comments. And as we chat today, feel free to write your questions in and we will answer them live. So I am Grace, and I am here with Abby, who is one of our injury prevention specialists at Dayton Children's. And we are talking about when kids get injured at home. We are all at home all the time right now, or a lot of us are at least. And your kids may be doing things a lot more than they normally would be during April, and just different injuries may be happening. So, Abby, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely good to see you, Grace.
Yeah, so let's just start with the big question. I think if kids get injured, whether it's falling off their bike or, I have a toddler who is exploring everything, if
Right.
she fell off her slide or on our porch or something, what should parents do? Because I know that parents might be concerned about taking their child into the doctor's office or into the emergency department because they're afraid of getting sick. So what should parents do if their child does get hurt?
Right. If it is a minor injury, go ahead and call your family doctor or your pediatrician first. They may be able to do a telehealth visit. They may want you to come in. It is safe to go into the doctor's office if they are asking you to come in, but go ahead and give them a call. If it is a severe injury, please, please, please call 911 or bring your child in. We don't want any delays in treatment, and our emergency department is safe. We are taking every precaution to make sure your kids will be safe, and we don't want what could be worse is not getting that bone set or not getting those stitches if they're needed.
Right. And I think that's so important to share if people haven't seen already. We are doing all kinds of stuff. Every single staff member at Dayton Children's is wearing a mask. We are going to be handing out masks to every visitor that's coming in. We have pretty strict visitor restrictions in place. Our environmental services team does an amazing job at wiping things down and using all the best sanitizing efforts. So when you come to Dayton Children's, you can know that you are going to be as safe as you can be. And we don't want you staying at home with your kids if you think that they need something like a cast or stitches. But as Abby said, calling your pediatrician first is always a great route.
And if you do have to go visit Dayton Children's, we want you to come in if you need us. Please leave all the siblings at home and just have one adult bring your kid in. So just one adult and no other siblings if possible.
Absolutely. And if you want to review those visitor restrictions, you can check out our website, and I'll put the URL here for you. We have a childrensdayton.org/coronavirus. And this will tell you those visitor restrictions. It will talk to you about our safety procedures and all that kind of stuff. So feel free to check that out at any time. So, Abby, let's talk a little bit about what kind of injuries might parents be seeing because their kids are at home so much right now.
So schedules have changed and we've all bought a lot more cleaning products, so they're everywhere. I recommend doing a clean sweep of the house every day for those things that young kids can get into, anything from small toys to new cleaning products to, I know some kids take medications every day. They used to take them at school, now they're taking them at home. Making sure those things that are out of routine are up and away and out of sight from little kids. If someone does get into something or ingest something, call the poison control number. It's 1-800-222-1222, and I think we can scroll that. It's important to have that number up on your fridge, in your phone. Make sure everyone knows that poison control number because there is a good chance that somebody might get into something. It's always good to have on hand.
Yeah, and I think that, this is so important because I know I'm a mom of two little kids, and I'm also working, and so you're distracted. And so we want to take these precautions ahead of time, so that
Right.
way we know that they're up and away. So just, thinking about what cleaning supplies do you have, what medicines do you have, locking them up, putting them where they can't reach them, and, just really thinking about all those things is a really good reminder. Um, are there other, I think it's really interesting and sad, but we have stats about, nationally, poisoning is the third leading cause
Right.
of unintentional injury death among children. And
Mhm.
Abby, why do you think that is?
Kids are curious. They get into everything, and we keep things where they can get them. I know a lot of these are medications. A lot of them are cleaning products, such as Tide Pods, and that's a big one. Tide Pods look like candy. We call them pretty poisons. They are pretty. Windex looks like Gatorade, and kids younger than 5 can't read for the most part. So they're curious, they're exploring, and how they learn is putting things in their mouth. So the best thing we can do is keep those products up and away from kids, because if they get into them, they are going to try them.
Yeah.
They're very
So then,
curious.
we did a blog the other day, which we can post in the comments as well, about poisoning safety during this time. And you talked in that blog, Abby, about, keeping the products in their original containers. Why is
Absolutely.
why is that so important? I think that was a really interesting point to make.
So, because they have the warning labels on them, they have the ingredients on them. If you don't know what you put in that container, let's say you poured all of your cleaning products into new spray bottles that match and they look pretty, you may not remember which is what. One could be as harmless as vinegar, the other one could be bleach, and those you don't want to make that mistake. So you want to know what your kid got if they do get into something, and also what you're using, right? So keeping all products, that's cleaning products, that's medications. You could even, like, I know, if you put if you combine pills, the expiration dates, the dosing, all could be messed up. So keeping products in that original container is really important.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point that we just, it can get confusing.
Mm-hmm.
It is tempting to want to put them in the pretty
It
containers and
is.
make your laundry room look nice, or your,
Mm-hmm.
kitchen look nice. But being able to, if they do ingest something, to be able to call poison control and tell them exactly what it was. They may have certain questions. I think is really important. And then also, so that they're not looking at, maybe a beautiful glass jar that has laundry
Right.
detergent in it, and they're thinking that it's flour or something that is edible from the kitchen.
That's
It's just an example.
another point, is that the original packaging is oftentimes child resistant. I know
Yeah.
that Tide has made every effort to make their products child resistant. I also know that bleach bottles and all of that have those child resistant caps that might not stop a child that's determined to get in, but it does save some lives to make sure that it is in that child resistant container.
Yeah. Great. So let's move a little bit to outdoor injuries. It's a beautiful day today. I can't
Gorgeous.
wait to get out again with my toddler. I feel like my street in front of me is like a parade of people, kids
Mm-hmm.
on bikes, people taking walks. So how can parents help kids, keep social distance when they're out in their neighborhood? Because it's great. We want kids to get out. We want them to be active. That's the stuff that maybe they normally don't get to do when they were at school. But there's the temptation. They see their friends when they're out. They want to see
Right.
them. So, what are some tips for parents for keeping that social distance while they're out in the neighborhood?
So this one's hard because little kids really want, school age kids really want to see their friends, and they may understand I'm supposed to stay away from people that are strangers, but once they see a friend that lives across the street, they're going to want to see them. So I've been thinking of some ways to teach 6 feet to kids, or more. So we want kids to stay 6 feet or more away from their friends,
Right.
from their neighbors. Two sidewalk blocks is about 8 to 10 feet. So if they stay 2 sidewalk blocks in front of them, 2 sidewalk blocks behind them, that's a really good visual representation of how far away they should be distanced. Another one is how across your dining room table, that's maybe 6 to 8 feet. So obviously the longest part of the dining room table, but if you stand across there, that's how far apart you should be. I think practicing that with kids is a really good idea because 6 feet is not really a tangible number for a kid,
Yeah.
so teaching them how far apart that is.
Yeah, I think even for adults that's
It
helpful to think
is,
about two
yeah,
sidewalk blocks or your dining
yeah.
room table. Or, I think parents could also do some sort of activity, get out the tape measure, measure
Mm-hmm.
something to help them figure out, maybe it's your couch is 6 feet long,
Right.
or, I don't know, but something that is tangible for the kids so when they are out, they can kind of remember that, because it is tempting to, you see your friend on the bike, you want to just, ride up next to them, and,
Mm-hmm.
being able to think, okay, keeping those distances between. So that's really good. That's great. So then, like I said, I'm seeing all kinds of kids out there on their bikes, and which
Right.
is really fun, but there's some things we want to make sure the kids aren't getting injured on their bikes. So what are some bike safety tips that you have for parents that they can take into account?
So if you're like me, you put your bike away in October or November, and then you didn't bring it back out until it got nice out. And when I did this, I did what's called an ABC quick check. And I learned that my gears were broken when I did it and that I needed to get those fixed. So when you're digging those bikes out, one, make sure it's a good fit for your kids still. They grew a lot over the winter potentially. So make sure the bike is a good fit. Check the air, the brake, and the chains, and just make sure that bike is in good working order before your kid gets on it. Just do some spring maintenance before they get on, and then again, make sure they're wearing a helmet every time they ride a bike or a scooter. I can't stress this enough. We don't want kids getting head injuries if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you were telling me earlier that some stores and places are out of bikes right now.
That's what I'm hearing. So
Yeah,
there's
which is interesting. It's like stores are out of puzzles, which no one wanted before,
right,
toilet paper, obviously, and then apparently bikes because people are wanting things to do.
right.
But where could be, if people wanted to get a bike, where might they be able to do that?
So a lot of local bike shops are still open. You can check any of your local bike shops. Call ahead is my recommendation. Before you go to any store, call and see what they have. I mean, call your big box stores like Targets, Walmart's, Myers. Call them first. See if they have bikes and helmets in stock. If not, if you don't want to go to those stores, those smaller mom and pop shops are open. So give them a call and see if they have the bike you need in stock.
Okay. So then can we talk real quick? I should have had you bring your bike helmet, but I won't make you go
That's
get it.
okay.
Let's just talk a little bit about the helmet fit. I know there's some really
Absolutely.
easy things with the fingers
Mm-hmm.
and the chin and the straps. So can we go over those for parents so that
Sure.
they could get that out later today and go over that with kids?
So when you put the helmet on, you want it to sit straight with two fingers above the eyebrows. So, like this, the helmet should
Okay.
be right here. On the side of the head, so let me see if I can do this. In a V, the strap should make a V around the ear. And again, I have big headphones on, so I apologize. But there should be a V, and the ear should be in the middle of it, just like Grace just demonstrated. If
Okay.
the straps are not, if the ear is not in between those straps, you're not going to get a good fit. And then you can have a kid say "ah" like that, and the strap should be tight.
Okay.
If it should be a little loose when their mouth is closed, but when they open their mouth, it should be a tight fit. And
Okay.
then you can have kids go like this, and if the helmet wiggles at all, you're going to want to tighten those straps up.
Okay. We do have a question. Are there specific types of helmets that we should be looking for, or is it just about the fit and age?
It's about fit and age, and there have been some counterfeit, just like anything else on online shopping. There have been some counterfeit helmets out there, so I recommend making sure your helmet is certified by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. It has a little box in it somewhere. It'll say CPSC. If you're shopping online, look for that too.
Okay.
And so once your helmet comes, make sure that if they're all marked somewhere on them with that little box, make sure you're looking for that.
Okay. And then, we talked about bikes, but there's lots of things that kids should be wearing a helmet with when they're doing outside. So
Absolutely.
what are some other outside activities that they should be wearing a helmet for?
Scooters, skateboards, the inline skates. I don't know if people are still rollerblading, but rollerblades, roller skates, any of those items. I see another question about elbow pads and knee pads. They are helpful, absolutely. The helmet is the most important piece. Any other things that you might want, including knee and elbow pads, do help. They're just added precautions.
Okay, great.
We do want kids to take helmets off if they are climbing anything because the helmet can get stuck. I know a lot of playgrounds are closed right now, but in the backyard, if you have a jungle gym, make sure they're taking their helmet off before they climb on it.
Okay. And then our last kind of section will be kids may be spending a lot more time in the kitchen,
Yes.
cooking with their parents, which is a great activity to do. But there's some safety concerns we should think about there as well. So what are some things that parents should be aware of when they're in the kitchen with their kids?
I suggest supervising kids in the kitchen. I know that means getting up, taking a break from work, but get up and take that break right then. When they're in the kitchen, there are so many things. There's cleaning products, there's hot items, the stove, the microwave. A lot of us have microwaves that are above our stoves, so they're way tall for kids. They're reaching in to get the hot thing and it falls on them and they get burned. So burns are happening in the kitchen. There are knives in kitchens. So making sure those things are, one, put away and out of reach. But two, I just recommend supervising kids while they're cooking. It's the best prevention.
Yeah. And then even just with little kids,
Mm-hmm.
just remembering, once again, I have a toddler, turning those pans if it's on the
Exactly.
stove so that they can't pull it down. I mean, I'm amazed at what my 18-month-old can reach.
Mm-hmm.
And, so turning those, keeping them away from the hot oven. If they can reach the counter or sitting at a counter or table, what can they reach from there? And that kind of stuff. So just
Absolutely.
keeping an eye on it. And listen, parents, I know it's hard.
So hard.
It is hard. We are distracted right now, and there's a lot on our plates. So I think, like Abby said before, just putting some of those measures in place ahead of time so you don't, so that in the moment it will prevent it is really important. So, Abby, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you want to make sure that we talk with our families about today regarding injury prevention while we are staying at home?
Not that I can think of. I think that we've covered pretty much everything.
Okay.
One last thing, I guess, is that in and around cars is we want to make sure kids are safe around cars as well. So preventing those backovers. So if kids are playing outside, they're outside a lot more. They might be in the driveway. Before you pull that car out, just check and make sure there's no kids. There's more kids on the street. So
Yeah.
double, triple checking that when you're backing out before you back out that nothing's behind your car.
Yeah, that's
Including
great.
any toys that might have been left out or kids.
Right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. Okay. Well, Abby, thank you so much for joining us today from your home.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate it. And I know our audience did as well. And thank you for all those who tuned in and watched. And we hope to be bringing you more of these lives now that we are up and running with our remote capabilities. So thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday.
Have a
Bye.
good day and stay safe.
You too. Bye.